What if I told you that one of Dragon Ball's most terrifying villains wasn't truly evil? When people think about Majin Buu, they usually remember destruction, cities disappearing in seconds, entire populations wiped out without hesitation, a monster who laughed while the world burned. But underneath all that chaos was something far more tragic, because Majin Buu wasn't born with hatred, he was born without understanding, and that changes everything. Unlike Frieza, Buu didn't crave power. Unlike Cell, he didn't seek perfection. Unlike Vegeta in his early days, he wasn't driven by pride. Buu was different. He behaved more like a child than a conqueror. He laughed, he played, he threw tantrums, he acted on impulse without understanding the consequences of his actions. To him, destroying a city wasn't an act of cruelty. It was no different than a child knocking over a tower of blocks. That doesn't excuse what he did, but it helps explain why he did it. For countless years, Buu existed as a force of destruction. He wasn't guided by morality, he wasn't taught compassion. He simply followed the commands of those who controlled him, first Babidi, then Babidi. They didn't teach Buu right from wrong, they only taught him one thing: destroy. Imagine having incredible power, but never being given the chance to understand how to use it. That's the tragedy of Majin Buu. He was treated like a weapon long before anyone treated him like a person. Everything began to change when he met someone nobody expected to influence him: Mr. Satan. At first, their relationship seemed impossible. One was the world's most feared monster. The other was an ordinary human with no chance of defeating him. But Mr. Satan didn't attack Buu. He talked to him. He shared meals with him. He laughed with him. For perhaps the first time in Buu's existence, someone treated him with kindness instead of fear. And something remarkable happened. Buu started changing. Then came B, the small dog who became Buu's first real friend. It sounds like a simple detail, but it represents something much bigger. B loved Buu without expecting anything in return. For someone who had only known manipulation and violence, that kind of unconditional friendship was completely new. Through Mr. Satan and B, Buu experienced something he had never understood before: compassion, joy, connection. He wasn't learning how to become stronger, he was learning how to be kind. And then that happiness was taken away. When B was shot by cruel people, Buu couldn't understand why. He had tried to change, he had chosen kindness, yet the world answered that kindness with violence. Mr. Satan was devastated, Buu was heartbroken, and all the anger, sadness, and confusion he'd been holding inside finally erupted. That moment didn't just create evil Buu, it revealed the battle that had been happening inside him all along. Good Buu and evil Buu weren't just two different characters, they represented two sides of the same soul. One side wanted friendship, the other reflected years of manipulation, pain, and destruction. When evil Buu defeated good Buu and transformed into Super Buu, it symbolized innocence being consumed by hatred. It's one of the darkest moments in Dragon Ball, not because a stronger villain appeared, but because kindness lost. Even after everything that happened, good Buu never disappeared completely. He remained proof that there had always been goodness inside him. Given patience, friendship, and acceptance, Buu became someone who genuinely cared about others, not because he was forced to, because he chose to. That's what makes his story so powerful. His heart changed before his role in the story did. When fans compare Dragon Ball villains, Frieza represents tyranny, Cell represents perfection, but Buu represents something different. He's the danger of innocence without guidance, a being with limitless power but no understanding of how that power should be used. His tragedy wasn't simply that he destroyed the world, it was that nobody ever taught him another way to live. That's why Mr. Satan's role is so important. He didn't defeat Boo with strength, he reached him with empathy. In a series famous for explosive battles and incredible transformations, one of its greatest victories came from a simple act of kindness. Sometimes the strongest force isn't power, it's compassion. When people call Majin Buu nothing more than a monster, they overlook the heart of his story. Yes, he caused unimaginable suffering. Yes, he had to be stopped. But good Buu also showed that even someone with the darkest past can change when they're given friendship, patience, and a chance to become better. His story isn't just about destruction, it's about redemption. It's about the difference one person can make by choosing kindness over fear. Maybe that's why the story of Majin Buu still resonates with fans today, because beneath the terrifying power, beneath the laughter, beneath the chaos, was someone who simply wanted to belong. And perhaps that's the hidden tragedy of Majin Buu. He spent most of his life being treated like a monster before anyone gave him the chance to be anything else.